In these 7 years, I think, happy to say that we think we partnered with over 130,000 entrepreneurs and first-time homeowners.
Hello and welcome to another episode of It. My name is Sanjay Chakrabarti. I'm the founder of Tyger. Today's guest is someone who I've known for over 25 years. We started our career almost together. In fact, there was a point of time that we used to sit next to each other and share a precious phone, a landline between the two of us. So, yes, there are a lot of secrets that we have shared for the longest. I'm absolutely delighted to have with me the founder of Tyger Capital, Gaurav. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you, Sanjay.
Gaurav, you know the format of the show. Getting into the first question, who is Gaurav Gupta?
So, Sanjay, you've known me for 25 years. I think you should answer that question. But to help you, I think Gaurav Gupta is a dreamer who dreams and then he goes all in to try and achieve his goals and dreams.
I wouldn't have wanted to share more from my side on it because I'm not too sure how that would go. But I would definitely support what you said in describing yourself. Absolutely. Gaurav, coming to the second question, tell us something about Tiger Capital.
So, Tyger Capital, we are an NBFC, and we started this about 7 years ago with the objective that in semi-urban and rural India, people don't have access to credit. So our focus is to give them credit. And as we say, if you need 3 lakh to 30 lakh, if you are an entrepreneur, money to make money, then I have a product for you. So be it a farmer where we provide tractor loans, a transporter where we provide vehicle loans, or a small businessman, a kirana store, a hardware dealer, a chemist. So our focus is to help them grow, be part of their growth journey. In addition, we also have a housing finance company focused on the same market, semi-urban, rural India, where our aim is to provide financing for the first-time homeowner. And in these 7 years, I think, happy to say that we think we partnered with over 130,000 entrepreneurs and first-time homeowners.
Wow, that's a significant number. Gaurav, lending in India has significantly changed in the last couple of decades, especially in the last 5 years. How do you right now and assume that capital is equal or whatever the cost of borrowing is pretty much the same? How do you compete in this market? What are the differential factors?
So I think, there are all kinds of stats. If there are numbers which say that there are 63 million MSMEs, of which 99% are the micro entrepreneurs, enterprises, and that's the segment that we cater to. And only 11 to 15% of them have access to formal finance. So they may be borrowing from friends, relatives, money lenders, but they don't have the ability to kind of borrow at from an institution. So the demand, the opportunity in India is huge, and we've seen that, again, stats which show that roughly today MSME contributes about 25 to 28% of the GDP. And if India has to grow, this is a segment that needs to grow. And in some of the evolved markets, the contribution is almost 40 to 50%. So how we compete, I mean, at the end of the day, be it a bank or be it an NBFC, right? Money is a raw material. We borrow money like a bank, not from the depositor directly, but from banks and other institutions, and we lend money. Now, if you really look at it, how do we compete? That there are three, as I always say, there are three cornerstones to a lending business, be it a bank or NBFC. There's cost of capital, there's customer acquisition and distribution cost, and there's credit cost. Now, clearly, as an NBFC, you're not most competitive from a cost of capital perspective. So, what you are trying to effectively compete is, do you have the distribution to cater to that segment, which probably banks aren't able to get to? And do you have the ability to underwrite that customer, and we call it a thin file customer. A lot of our borrowers are borrowing for the first time. Do we have the ability to assess? We are a risk-based business, so can we build a process where our assessment of these customers is better than the others? So to answer your question, Sanjay, I think what we are trying to kind of build is a distribution in the segment that we want to cater to, and the ability to assess and underwrite these customers. I think if we can do that, I think over a longer term perspective, we'll be able to kind of compete with the other banks and lending institutions.
That's really insightful. Gaurav, in both these cases, as far as distribution is concerned and the credit profiling is concerned, what sort of digital technology, AI related mechanisms are you using?
I think to a large, a lot of credit actually should go to the steps that the government has also taken, starting from the Jan Dhan, the bank accounts, which effectively, everybody was kind of forced to open. And once they opened, they started keeping money, transacting money. The entire India Stack initiatives, which basically allows digital payments. So all of these initiatives has made underwriting and dispersal easier. Now, from your question perspective, we we are not I mean, people refer to a fintech company, but for us, technology is an enabler. There are three parts to our business. There is a KYC where you kind of do the onboarding of a customer. There is a appraisal where you kind of assess and you sanction a loan amount. And the third part is a dispersal, where you kind of sign the agreement and you disburse the loan. So we actually have a product. So everything that we do happens on the mobile phone. It's Everything is done digitally, and because we are predominantly in a secured product, so where our security is either a mortgage that we create on the home or shop, or hypothecation of the vehicle. So that part has a physicality to it. But I have a small segment which is a supply chain finance where we do, which is unsecured. And in that business, from customer onboarding to decisioning to e-sign, e-stamp, and dispersal, everything happens digitally. In fact, we have a product where if a farmer wants an existing loan or a top-up loan on his existing tractor, that entire process we've designed digitally, where we can actually, from initiation to actual dispersal, we can do it in 4 hours.
Wow, that's significant. So Gaurav, 7 years, Tyger Capital, what's been your biggest low?
Oh, biggest low. Let me tell you, when we started in 2017, I think within 12 to 18 months when we started, we saw the ILFS crisis. And when that crisis happened, it became difficult. No bank wanted to onboard a new NBFC. So I think that is the first significant hurdle that we faced. And the minute we kind of came out of that, we saw COVID, the first wave and the second wave. And I don't think anyone could ever have been prepared for something like that. But for an organization of our vintage, and we were just about setting up our team, setting up our processes, that was the second hurdle that we faced. And then just when we were kind of coming out of that, I think Jan 23, we faced another crisis where liquidity suddenly kind of dried up, and we had to kind of think of alternatives, that how we will continue to kind of grow the business and what we need to kind of do. So I don't know, I think every hurdle was higher and higher, so every low was lower and lower. And so when I look back, had I known that it would be so difficult and there would be so many challenges, perhaps I would have never done this, and I would have continued doing what I was doing before I kind of, took this plunge.
I'm sure you're being modest here, Gaurav, but I'm sure that the very fact that, as I keep saying, especially for a lot of the businesses that have survived post-COVID and thrived, which effectively means that they are in for a long haul. So I think it was in a way a good check for people to say that, as they say, the fittest survives. So anyone has survived the whole COVID wave, and you're talking about three specific large instances, and the very fact that you've gone through that. I was going to ask you next is what's been your biggest high. I wonder whether surviving these three and still thriving is the answer to that. But I still pose you that question. What's been your biggest high?
No, so I think that's clearly, to be able to survive each and at each stage, the your organization is larger, and in the context of that, the problem is larger, and you have to work harder and harder every time, you face a new challenge. So I think being able to kind of come out of it, from a stage where, people questioned our very existence, to be able to kind of come out of it reasonably, successfully, and where now we have 3,000 people, and hopefully we are on a path where we can further grow from here. I think that has to be the biggest high.
Super. Gaurav, one habit of yours that has really helped you at work?
So at work, so I believe, I think one needs to be connected to the ground. And so I have this ability of talking to the junior most people. Uh, and because these are the people who actually give real insights, whether it's process related, product related, market related. And that is one thing which I continue to do. So I still travel extensively with the objective of just going to a branch, meeting people, spending time with people. So I think, to me, I think that is most important. Many times, I think, as I always say, business doesn't happen sitting in the office. Business happens down in the branches, and it's the customer. And if you have to look and think from a customer perspective, and that person who's actually doing the business, I think if you can address his concerns, his motivational needs, I think that is most key.
Yeah, I completely align to that thought process. Gaurav, last one breath question. Tiger Capital in 8 months from now and 8 years from now?
So 8 months is an easy answer. So hopefully, I think we are, as I said, we are about 130,000 plus customers who we've kind of lent in the last 7 years. Our book today stands at about 5,500 crores. I do think that in the next, whatever, 7, 8 months, by the end of this financial year, we should be able to kind of get to about 7,000 crores in loan size. But 8 years out, I don't know. But the idea is that, can you really build an institution, where, if I look from, if today we financed 125,000 customers, can we finance or partner with a million customers? And can we, aim to kind of be, a top 15, lending institutions, 8 years hence, with a clear focus, in the market, in that semi-urban rural market. And as part of that, can we make our product as easy and convenient for that customer as it is today for us to kind of get a loan? Today, all of us can get a loan instantly, but that
Hmm.
customer, if we can build that same convenience for that customer, I think that is what we aspire to kind of do and be.
Super. Gaurav, with you at the helm, I have no doubt that you guys will get there. And I have to share this piece that seeing you right from the early start of your career, it would have actually been quite disappointing if you wouldn't have gone the entrepreneurial way, because you were entrepreneurial from pretty much day one. And let me share with those who may not know that Tiger was one of your favorite words even on those days. So a lot of the people you would address saying Tiger ye kar de, Tiger wo kar de. So I'm not surprised that you have named it as Tiger Capital, and that whole philosophy of seeing every employee as a tiger, and sharing the attributes of a tiger and hoping to see that manifest there is outstanding. Wish you the very best, and thank you so much for coming in and spending time.
Thank you, Sanjay. It's a pleasure being on the show. And there's one final thing that I want, since you mentioned, initially that it's a show where you call entrepreneurs. So if there is one thing that I can tell, to all budding entrepreneurs is that there is never a perfect plan. And if we start thinking of every possible issues and solutions, I don't think you will ever end up starting anything. So at some stage, you have to take that leap of faith. And after that, there will be issues and more hurdles. You just then have to have the tenacity and perseverance to kind of, address these. So long as you have that self belief, some things could be addressed in 3 years, 5 years, 7 years, but it is hard. But you have to have that self belief that once you've taken the plunge, to keep going.
Thanks once again for coming in. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you, Sanjay.